existing ecosystem is essentially men talking to men. And that was for the longest time excluding women. And then the second piece, even when the existing ecosystem spoke to women, the decision-making ability was just not there. So women would listen, but would say, oh, I'm going to ask my husband and come back, or I'll ask my father,
Yeah.
And therefore, for existing financial services, they said, why this is such a long time taking process, long gestation to get a woman on board. You might as well just talk to the husband.
Yes. That's right.
And which is why that effort was just not being made.
Yes.
And I think Lakshmi, which is why I launched Lakshmi, is that, for a platform to be able to just talk to women, first of all, to start that conversation. And in order to kind of address that barrier of saying that, or that barrier of self-doubt, I don't know, I can't make a decision, the fear of making a decision, breaking that down by creating a collaborative approach. So getting women together on a community and start talking to each other about money. First understanding we are all in a similar boat.
Yes.
And then saying, okay, where do we go from here, right?
Yes.
Which is why, Lakshmi, for me, there are 3 pillars to Lakshmi. One is a community where women come together and talk about money. So challenges, opportunities, everything to do with money.
Yes.
And the second was a lot of content and online learning.
Yes.
So you can read a lot of content. So literacy and awareness, but the way we relate to it as women. Not as men look at money. And there's a very, very different behavioral aspect, difference in the behavior towards money. So if you're able to really understand that and then speak about, money and career, money and financial goals, it just becomes a lot more relatable. And then a very simple online course where you go through, small modules. And then eventually, a platform where you can seamlessly invest. Really uncomplicating that, because one of the reasons women don't invest is because they think it's like too complicated, too intimidating.
Yes.
Investing is equal to being it was equated. The perception is you have to be a math whiz to know investing.
Yes, which is not true.
To be a number whiz to be an investor, which is just not true.
Yeah.
So, really simplifying and saying it's actually very simple decision making that you have to do.
Yes.
And to me, having that integrated platform of right from talking, money conversations, learning and investing was very critical. Because I looked around, there were a lot of seasonal women investor awareness things that, life insurance companies would do, mutual funds would do.
Yes.
Very like, Women's Day, around Women's Day, everybody would start talking.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
there was also a lot of, a lot of literacy platforms, but they were just literacy platforms. And when the end goal is there's not a clear call to action to say invest, then the journey just stops there very abruptly.
Yes.
So it's so much of time and effort spent, and then you're not really acting upon it. It's like, telling somebody theoretically, this is how you swim in the water, but not really going out there, right? You will never accomplish learning that.
Yes.
So, which is why Lakshmi, and, for me, I think this was, it's like a passion, purpose, everything put together.
Yes, one can see that. And I think the community where women get to talk to each other, discuss money goals, discuss investment options. And I think the format of a Q&A format, women prefer it to a format where, information is bombarded to them. So,
sure. And also it's a only women community. So you're not, a woman doesn't hesitate. One of the reasons we don't ask questions is because we feel, I'm going to ask this, support, what will other people think? They'll think like, she's so silly, she doesn't know this thing,
Yes.
And I think we've broken that down, creating that safe space where women can ask these questions.
Yes, and they ask basic, and even if they ask basic questions, you can ask it confidently. So it's really wonderful to see, women, and I think the women of today do want to take charge of their finances. They do want to understand. They do understand the importance of, planning. We don't come from a place where we have pensions. Earlier there were government jobs. Women didn't bother because they knew they had pensions to kind of back on. So, have you seen that change? I mean, have you seen the younger generation and the way the younger women interact? Do you see it very differently?
So I think what has changed is that, as with every generation, when it was millennials, it was about financial independence, right? It was saying that, yes, I want to earn my own money, so that, there's a sense of individuality. There's a sense of saying, yes, I'm doing something on my own and I'm my own person, etc. Right? And I'm not dependent on my daily needs on a man or another person, right? With the Gen Z, it is more about saying it's about the freedom of being able to pursue or do what they want, where money is an enabler.
Yes.
Right. So they don't, and in a lot of ways, this is a dichotomy, right? Because I see, when you see the Gen Z, you'll realize that for them, one, that freedom of doing what they want to do is very important. And it could be anything to do with what are they very passionate about, etc. Right? That is very important. But when it comes to saying, okay, why don't you make sure that money is giving you that power? For some reason, there is this thought in the head that, oh, money is not so, it's not so important. And it's also, I think it's also the scarcity to now things really being easily available, right? So therefore, the mindset also differs today and tomorrow. When you look at your girls, you'll see a completely different mindset. They've not seen scarcity, right? And for them, some things are just very, very normal to have. A lot of the things that we consider luxury is normal for them to have. And that is how Gen Z is different. So I still find that piece missing, where a woman is standing up and saying, no, I want control over my money. Because that is what is giving me the financial freedom, and the financial freedom then gives me everything else. So today, even if you look at, for example, you look at all online digital platforms where you can invest, whether it is Grow, whether it is Zerodha, all of these platforms, the number of women on them is barely 10 to 14%.
Yes. Yes.
Now, this is the platform. It's a digital platform today. Everybody can access it, right?
Yes.
What is it that is still stopping us from reaching out and going onto these platforms? Why is that number still so poor? So there is still a very large gap. I don't think women are still, and it's interesting. Today I did a session with ISB alumni and their existing PGP class, and it was amazing how women said that, we know how to do it, and we know that we want to do it, but because we don't know how to do it, we keep pushing off that decision. We'll do it at some point. We'll do it. It's not like, whereas men, if you speak to them, they're 16 years old or 17 years old, they will try out Zerodha, they will try out several things before, they'll be actively trading.
Yes.
So I think that is,
they don't mind making mistakes, buying stocks, making mistakes.
They don't, and they build trust in themselves by actually experimenting.
Yes.
By doing that transaction. Whereas for us, we'll say, no, I'm not trading till I know what exactly this is about. And because I don't know, I will put off that decision.
Yes.
So that, I think that what's different is that desire is there, but I think the really clearly taking that step is still
initiative. Yeah. Yes. But through how did you go about building Lakshmi, your team? If you can tell us a little bit about your team.
So Lakshmi is built by women for women, right? And one of the things that was very necessary to have women is really understand the mindset of women when building this product, and like I said, for us, I think it's more behavior than numbers. And therefore you needed to bring that element in. So the journey really started from me, deciding in Harvard after a pitch that this is, Lakshmi is something that appeals it's not just an India problem, it's a global problem, right? But when it comes to India, I said, no, I want to call it Lakshmi because that's the dichotomy, right? We pray to the goddess Lakshmi, but as women, we think we are not good enough.
Yes.
And I came back here and the journey started with building that brand to something that appeals to the younger women that we are targeting. So, we're looking at a target, urban women between 25 to 35. And when I say urban, it's more psychographic than demographic, because anybody sitting in a tier 2 city could also be very urban because she has a smartphone, which gives her access to the same facilities as a girl sitting in Mumbai, right? So we said, okay, that's our target audience. So therefore, Lakshmi needs to be this very powerful, young, dynamic brand, right? Which is talking to the woman of today. So it started from there. And then, of course, we did these, the primary and secondary research into how the product, what are the friction points, what is the, we've understood the problem. What is the solution? How do we build that, right? And the way we went about really building it is block by block, really doing a sort of beta before we really went out, and before, we built it, we got a proof of concept. The one thing I was very clear from day one was that the platform, one, it needs to be a digital platform, completely online, seamless, very easy to kind of, navigate that platform. It shouldn't be intimidating. It should speak the language of women. And most importantly, it should have a transaction. It should have an investment platform, the ability to invest, because to me, that has always been the piece that is missing. So we built that. And then one of the things, of course, I realized that women come together, we like the collaborative approach. So I think over the last 2 years, I've spoken to more than 50,000 women. We've done financial fitness boot camps, and we realized that when it is a platform where women come together, the interactive learning is just amazing. Which actually then told us that means that we should have the ability, the interactive, piece on the platform as well. So we said, okay, let's see if women come on a community and are willing to talk about money. We have the proof of concept in lifestyle, fashion, relationship, all of parenting, for example, right?
Yes, it's a big community.
Yeah. So we know all of that, but money, we were not sure whether women will really want to talk about money. So we started as a Facebook group and we said, let's see if this works. We started in June, and I think today we have close to 8,000, 7,000, 400, 500 women on the group. And it's a closed group, so we are not marketing it.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't market a closed Facebook group. So this is organically grown, and 55% user engagement on this community. About 70% of it is user generated content. So women are coming and asking questions, women are giving answers.
Yes.
It's not Lakshmi who's, initiating conversations. Lakshmi needs to initiate very rarely, right?
Yes.
And that actually told us that women do need a space like that. And then, the conversation is very, I think on a daily basis, we have at least like some 15, 20 posts, which come in asking questions, etc. So I think that kind of proved to us that community is a core to Lakshmi. And we are migrating that. So on 1st of May, we actually have it on the platform. So that's how we went around. So, and eventually we also realized that Lakshmi cannot just be an investment platform. Lakshmi needs to be a money platform.
Yes.
Right. So what is it that appeals to us as women? Our comfort areas are being able to save money in a safe space. Our comfort areas are being able to invest in gold because we understand. Our comfort areas are essentially saying whether I can, borrow money at a differential rate, because the existing borrowing rates don't allow me to, for example, set up my own business or meet my personal goals, etc. So trying to see what are the gaps, what are the comfort areas for women, and then what are the gaps, right? And you want to build it all together. So what we're building now is actually, core of it is a community. So it's a direct to customer community based fintech, essentially the money app for women. So, becoming the neo bank for women, where you have right from saving to investing, all the entire gamut, right? So in order to then make a platform which is technical but yet not coming across as not technical, we build teams, women, we build a team with women who don't come from financial services, right? The only person who comes from financial services is me. I have the product knowledge. I bring in the financial product knowledge. But whether it is the technology building, whether it is the look and feel of it, whether it is our marketing communication, all of it, we have women who come from absolutely diverse backgrounds, because that's how a woman thinks, right? A woman from a financial services, obviously assumes that a lot of what we are saying is understood by everyone.
Yes, but it's not.
So that's how we've gone and built the team. Also, the team, we've said it's a very, very young team. So a lot of young women who are speaking to our target audience, the 25 to 35. So I think that's what we've tried to build it around. And second, I think the most important thing for us is really the culture of the team that we are building, which is again very collaborative.